Hi, welcome to Sarah's Side Quests. I'm Sarah. This is my new channel. You never know what you're going to get here because I cannot stay on the main task. It's always a random side quest or deep dive or something I get obsessed with, and that's what I'm going to post here. I thought about doing something very nichey and staying with one thing, but I know that I'm not going to stick with that, so we're not going to do that. Um, my interests vary. It could be anything from my opinion on something, which I have a lot of opinions, or a product review because I love over researching stuff and then buying things. And usually I either love it or hate it after all that work. And it's always kind of comical when I have a crash out about something that I have over researched forever and then I get it and I hate it. Um, so that's always something that is endlessly entertaining to my friends and family. Um, we do a lot of traveling. We recently bought an RV. There's more to that story, and I'll get into that in a different video. Um, so there will probably be some RV content, travel trailer content, things like that, because we're still learning. And some of the things are funny. Some of them are just informational, things like that. And I can't just leave things well enough alone because I have to tinker or change or modify things. And some people find that interesting too. Um, I'm kind of techie, kind of nerdy. So it's really limitless what I can, get into with that. I've kind of gotten to a point where I don't like learning new tech unless I have a reason for it. So usually it's not the latest and greatest, but usually it's a fairly deep dive on it. Um, I will have story times. I know that because I am a certified yapper, and apparently I just like to hear myself talk. So we can get into some of those stories later, things like that. I do play a few video games. My family and household is very video game centric. Where I think I have a passing interest in video games and current things, my husband and my kids are all in on the different video games. Actually, two of my kids have video game related YouTube channels of their own. Um, I guess speaking of the kids, I am a mom of three. This is not going to be a parenting channel by any stretch, but I probably will talk about the kids quite a bit. They will not be on camera, with the exception of maybe my oldest, who is 18 and can make those decisions. So I will not be putting the younger two on here and not putting their faces on here. They can make that decision when they're older. But a lot of my content is driven by my older two children, because one of them is 14 and the other one's 18, and they're always like, "Mom, you need to start a YouTube channel and talk about some of the stuff because we find it interesting, and if we find it interesting, other people might also." I guess in that regard, I probably am going to be considered a YouTube elder because I'm probably older than you think I am. I had my kids late, and like I said, I have an 18-year-old. So I'm good for right now. I think I'm gonna let you do the math on it, and I'll probably end up telling you later because I'm a chronic oversharer along with being a yapper. So I'm sure that that will come up at some point. Um, some of the content will definitely be my corgi radar. He is on the icons of the channel right now, and he is my header. We did dog rescue for years. We worked with a couple groups, and we're a foster family for I think 10 years or so until I got pregnant with my third child. At that point, having two cats, a dog of our own, two children, and being pregnant, having a foster dog was like the last straw. So at that point, we stopped having fosters. So I never really thought I was going to have a purebred dog. Kind of happened into it because of my oldest son, who had a pretty big obsession with corgis, even though he had never really even seen one in person. Um, we ended up getting him one, and I have to say, he has been a joy. Um, and I never understood how people's dogs became their whole personality, but I think I'm quickly going down that path because it's gotten a little out of control in these last 3 years that we have had radar. Um, and radar content is usually well received by just about everybody, whether it be on my children's social medias or my social media or things like that. There are several things over the years that I have gotten Usually spite is what drives me, or just frustration with something, or getting fed up with something has driven a large majority of my projects. Um, so uh, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue. I'm learning how to do this from scratch. I borrowed my kid's microphone and camera. Um, I'm learning how to use OBS. I'm learning how to do the editing and things like that. The one leg up I think I do have with this is that um, I'm chronically online. So I watch a lot of YouTube. We canceled our cable many years ago, and then we had YouTube TV, and then we figured out the only reason we had YouTube TV was for my husband to watch football. So we came up with other options for that and got rid of that. So right now we have over-the-air TV and some streaming options, and the rest of it is YouTube. And I've gotten really into different things. Like there's a lot of RV content, there's a lot of review content, there's a lot of YouTube drama content because that is my guilty pleasure. Since I don't really watch reality TV, apparently I have replaced that with LawTube and YouTuber drama. So most of the things I know lately have to do with other people's lawsuits. And for some reason, the large majority of it's in Florida and Massachusetts. And if you know, you know. Right now, I am a stay at home mom. I have been for several years. I was a corporate accountant for many years. And every so often, I'll pick up a um, freelance job or two and do things here and there. Right now, I don't have one. Um, my oldest was a preemie, and we had him in daycare originally, but it got to be this thing where we would take him to daycare on Monday. He would catch whatever bug or germs that were going around. He would get sick. They would call us on Tuesday to come get him. Um, and he would go back for Friday or Monday, and it was like lather, rinse, repeat. It was constant. So we made my husband by far is the breadwinner in this family just because of what he does for a living. And we decided that it was probably best for me to come home with him. So I did stay home with him until he started pre K. And about the time that I had started interviewing with people and had a few offers and a few really good leads, we found out I was pregnant with my second child. And it was like, well, it's not great to go back to work pregnant. And there's a lot of discrimination about that, and I didn't really want to deal with it. And I did not have an easy first pregnancy, so it was kind of like, let's just chill with that. So I decided to stay home with him, and it was the same thing all over again. About the time he started pre-K, I ended up pregnant with my third child, and he was a complete surprise. We had been trying for my second kid, but my third one was a complete surprise. So uh, we went along with that, and I started interviewing about the time he went to kindergarten, and had gotten a few more interviews and a few more. I think I had one job offer or something like that, and everything shut down for COVID. So I'm not entirely sure it's meant for me to go back to work. And then after that, my middle child did get diagnosed. He's what we call medically complicated and has a lot of medical appointments in a large city about 90 minutes away from us. And it's really hard for me with the kind of accounting that I do. When I need to be at work, I need to be at work because I would do things like payroll and end of month closings, and my last job before I came home was a supervisory position, so I had a staff under me, and it's like you have to be there when you need to be there, and it's really hard for me to take a day off a couple days a month to take him to the doctor's office and still get everything done that I need to do. And the nature of my work makes it kind of hard to work from home too. Especially back then, it was not common to work from home or work remote or things like that. So I have been a stay-at-home parent for several years now, over a decade. I would like to go back to work. I would like to do more things. I'm not unhappy with the way things are, but I can tell sometimes I get really bored just with the day-to-day minutia. Um, But I have found a lot of projects and hobbies and things to keep me busy. And I do end up had to stop for a moment because I have a background filter on the camera here, and the dog decided he was going to wake up, and it was picking him up off to my shoulder here. Um, I'm filming in my bedroom and it is a hot mess right now. So we're definitely making use of filters. I used to have an office here at the house, but I gave that up when over COVID when my husband started working remotely with his job. And now his job, he works remote like 1 or 2 days a week. So I just let him keep the office. And I built a crafting room slash desk slash computer area in our master bedroom. I don't like being relegated to my bedroom, but here we go. Um, at some point, I do need to redo some things around the house and maybe have my own dedicated space again. Um, but the house that we built this house before we had kids. We've been here 20 years in December. And we've gotten to the point where there's a couple projects going on. And as of last count, one of the projects has been going on, I think, for 3.5 years. So I'm not exactly on board with starting a new project or reorganizing rooms in the house. My oldest will be going to college at some point soon, and I'm not entirely sure that I'm going to take his room or anything like that. I just think we might reconfigure some of the rooms. And now Radar is barking. I'm not sure what he's barking at because I'm the only one here. But I think what I was saying about the work situation is like I sometimes it is a little mind numbing, but I'm not unhappy with what I'm doing, but at all. But it has allowed me to do a few more deep dives on things that interest me, or I think that could be beneficial to people, or things like that. Um, I'm a huge spreadsheet nerd. Uh, Probably because of the accounting degree. So even if we're going on a trip, there's a spreadsheet involved. Christmas list, spreadsheet involved. Budgets, of course, spreadsheet involved. Staying in an Airbnb, spreadsheet involved. Some of the content may be things like me demonstrating how to do spreadsheets and things in sheets because I have gotten fairly cranky about Microsoft going to subscription models for their Office suite. So I actually have not used Excel proper probably 5 or 6 years by now. So I use Sheets and Open Office and a few other things like that. Um, I got mad at Amazon for I've had Prime for years. Probably one of the first people to have Prime, and have been fairly happy with it for years, even though where I live, 2-day shipping has not been a thing for a hot minute. Um, Even though we have a distribution warehouse in town. Um, but I got mad at them when I think it was right after Fallout came out. But it's free to watch their content, but they um, started charging what was like $2.99, $1.99 a month to have surround sound. So you're going to charge me. It's like you're charging me $100 and something a year for the privilege of having Prime, where you don't give me 2 day shipping, but now you have the nerve to charge me $1 or $2 or $3 a month to use my own surround sound. So I learned how to purchase things and self-host it, and now I can use my own surround sound. I don't the things I do purchase are not purchased through Amazon. So a lot of, like I said, a lot of my things are driven by spite or anger or things like that. The reason we have the camper was me having an absolute tantrum over something that was frustrating me over the course of several months. Um, I definitely will address that more later, but the short story is we had saved up for many, many years and tried to start a project, and like no matter what I do, this project is not getting off the ground. It's like if anything can go wrong, it does, or it's like it's not meant to be or something. It has been roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. So that has been an endless thing of frustration. And so we ended up buying a camper as a stopgap measure. Um, and it turned out to be a really good thing. It really did. We've really enjoyed having it. And some of the trips we have taken have been absolutely epic and incredibly affordable, which I had not expected that because everything I had heard over the years or researched over the years that RVing has gotten very expensive, and I am sure it is more expensive than it used to be. But for us and the way we travel, it is incredibly cost effective and much better than us trying to get Airbnbs or stay in hotel rooms. Because one of my large rants, and has been for years, is this world is not meant for people having 3 children. Families of 5 are, I don't want to say pariahs or things like that, but it's like the world is not built for a family of 5. It's either built for a family of 4 or a family of 6. Because if you have a large family, there are accommodations can be made, and the standard is 2 kids, 2 adults, and a lot of hotel rooms nowadays do not accommodate that third person. And now that the children are older, and one of them is an actual adult, we have to get 2 hotel rooms, and it gets really expensive really quick. And I think everybody pretty much knows that Airbnbs have got out of control. So there's things like that. Um, it has allowed Having the RV has allowed us to do a lot of things. And of course, I over researched and spent way too much time going to RV lots and things like that. And I got to where I had almost an encyclopedic knowledge of the different models and features and things they did and what the new updates were and things like that. And I actually got to the point where I went to one of the RV lots and the manager offered me a job. And had that not been 2 hours from my house, I might have considered it. So, I did not expect to learn that much or even retain it. I still can rattle off a lot of, like, features and things like that, even months later. Usually, when I go in on these special interests or deep dives on things, once I don't need the information anymore, I will delete it from my brain for something else. Because one of the fun features of getting older is that I do not have the memory that I used to. I used to work at a bookstore in high school and in college, and my memory was so good that off the top of my head, I was more accurate than the inventory system. I do not have a memory like that anymore. Far cry from it. If I don't write it down, it's not happening. I live and die by my Google Calendar, and I must have at least like 400 pages of notes scattered on my desk. So I would love to have that back. So, like, if there's something I promise I'm going to do a video on or something like that, and it doesn't materialize, please let me know. Please remind me because I probably will forget. Um, let's see, what else is there? I don't know. We have a couple trips coming up that I will film content for, but I most likely won't release the footage and the reviews and stuff until we get back, just for a privacy consideration. We have had a few changes of vehicles and things like that lately. I'm not sure if I'm going to cover that or not. I did not deep dive the vehicle stuff because honestly, as much of a car nerd as I am, I didn't deep dive this one because I no longer care. Um, the automotive industry has frustrated me to no end, and my big complaint with that is a lot of car makers don't make cars in colors, and I don't like plain cars. I mean, give me a red car or a blue car any day. But it seems to be that most cars are black, white, or silver, and that is so boring. I can't even. So I think that's it for now. It's a good overview. If there's any questions you have, let me know and I'll try to answer them. I'll be working on some other content and probably cutting some shorts from a few things. But like I said, I'm still learning how to edit and things like that. Um, I would like to get to a point where I can live stream. I also play a few video games. I might do a few voiceovers and just have like story times while I play solitaire or something like that, or play a game on my phone or things like that. If there's anything in particular you want to see, or if you want to see me be really bad at a different video game, let me know. If you want different reviews on things, let me know. I'm really open to anything at this point because I usually need a really good distraction. Like I'll be on a project or something for several months, and then it's like one day I wake up and my brain cannot, and I do not um, have any interest in it anymore. So it's like on to the next deep dive, on to the next obsession, on to the next special interest, things like that. So I think that's it for now. Hopefully there's more content coming very soon, and I will see you later. Bye.